Today we are going to talk about southern Brazil. So when we talk about Brazil, we're talking about the largest country in Latin America. It borders all countries in South America except Chile and Ecuador. And it has 26 states in a federal district separated in 5 different regions. We're going to talk about one of these regions, which is the south of the country. So Brazil's capital is Brasilia. The language is Portuguese. It's got about 230 million people living there. For Australians to travel to Brazil, they do need a visa, which needs to be applied through the embassy, sending the client's passport and itinerary. And Brazil is famous for Rio, Falls de Iguazu, which is Iguazu Falls, Carnival, Copacabana, and all that. And even though clients usually go very close to the region I'm going to talk about today, they don't get to experience it as much. So the south of Brazil, the region we're going to talk about, has 3 states, which are Parana, Santa Catarina, and Rio Grande do Sul. So you can see the 3 of them there. All right. So the first one we're going to talk about is Parana. So when I said the people, travelers, get really close to it, is because it's the state where Iguazu Falls are located. So you can see here Iguazu Falls, which is on the border of Argentina and very close to Paraguay. So today we're going to talk a little bit about this area here, which its capital Curitiba, and the area around here on the coast. All right, so Curitiba is the capital of the state. Many Australians traveled there in 2014 for the Soccer World Cup because it was one of the cities where Australia played. Is considered one of the world's best models of urban planning. It's really easy to get around. And there is plenty of attractions. So they do have this tourism line which takes you to many different attractions, making it really easy to for tourism in that city. So you can see here, for example, the Botanical Gardens. They have a beautiful wire opera house, very modern museum for visual arts, architecture, and design. They do have streets called 24-hour street. So it's like a gallery full of shops and restaurants that opens 24 hours a day. They do have the 15 November street, which is just a pedestrian street in the older part of town, full of parks to visit in Curitiba. So Curitiba is kind of halfway in between your Rio and Iguazu Falls. So it's a very interesting place to maybe break the journey and see something different. And I'm going to continue saying why it's interesting to be around there. There's plenty of hotels there too, comfortable hotels such as Nomad, which is 5-star, and then you have your 4-star, your Radisson 4 Points by Sheraton, and Ramada. And from Curitiba, you have an interesting train journey, which is the Serra Verde Express. So basically, that journey is from, so because Curitiba is about 900 meters above sea level, and basically that train is going to go down towards the coast. It's got, it leaves Curitiba about 8 a.m. in the morning, so you would need a night accommodation there before you can board the train. And it's got this beautiful scenery along the way. So you're going to see mountain canyons, tropical green lowlands, and the Atlantic Ocean as well. It's quite beautiful. And on the way there, you get to stop in the town of Antonina, which is a historical town. On that journey, it's going to be just about an hour stop, but from there you can see the bay, It's where the state park Pico de Parana is located, and if people want to spend more time in that area, they can go back and do some rafting and some activities around there too. But basically where the train is taking you is actually the town of Morretes. So Morretes was founded in 1721. It's a calm colonial town with cobblestone streets along the river, where, as you can see over there. And it's got a very special dish of that region for you to enjoy, which is the barreado. So it's a very famous dish of that place. So it's a rib sticking meat stew, and it's cooked in a clay pot. So it's one of the reasons people go there is to have lunch and have this special dish. And so it's a very interesting place to visit. That's where you finish the train journey. If you want to do that as a day trip only, you can, and then usually because it takes about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, the train journey from Curitiba to Morretes, usually you're going to go back on by car or transfer by car, because that only takes about an hour for you to go back if you want to do as a day trip. Otherwise, you can actually choose to stay in one of the lovely boutique hotels they have there. It's like quite relaxing, comfortable. So if clients have time, I would recommend for them to actually spend the night and maybe go back on the next day or continue the journey. So we can continue to even closer to the coast to an island called Ilha do Mel, which means Honey Island. So it's an island where no cars are allowed. It's an ecological island. Basically, you travel by car from Morretes for about an hour, and then you take a boat to get to the island. Lovely place to do hikes. If clients find it interesting, just relax around by the beach. It's still got a rustic environment, but great infrastructure. It's got about 25 beautiful beaches in that island, so definitely a lot to see, and it's quite beautiful. So it's got some boutique, lovely hotels that you can be like just in front of the beach, or you can be amongst like the beautiful forest area around there. So you're talking about, so let's say the Surf Resort, which is like 26 rooms, or the other ones that are a bit smaller, the Posada Três Luas, it's got 13 rooms. Posada das Meninas is only 9, and then Casa Ilha do Mel, which is like really close to the beach. You can just literally walk to the beach just 4. So quite comfortable and beautiful and relaxing. So from there you can go back to Curitiba for you to continue your journey. So it's going to be about like 3 hours or so to go back to Curitiba, and from there you can fly to Foz do Iguaçu. So Foz do Iguaçu is the Brazilian town for Iguazu Falls. It's got an international airport there, and that's where you're going to experience not only the beautiful falls that you have around there with amazing panoramic views. You can choose to cross to Argentina as well if you like from there. You can experience the Macuca Safari boat experience as you go under the falls. You have a beautiful bird park as well, with birds that are being endangered and things like that. You can experience the falls on a helicopter flight, for example. Quite a few options of activities to do there. That must be a destination that you maybe know a little bit more of. So in terms of hotels, did you have great infrastructure? You have the Belmont Hotel das Cataratas, which is literally the only one that is inside the national park on the Brazilian side, 5-star. You have the Wish Resort, which is your 4.5, and then you have the Bourbon Cataratas or the Mabu Resort, which are going to be more your bigger resort, 4-star, great for families, for example, as well. Okay, so Moving forward, we're going to go to the next state. So the state of Parana is stayed up there. We're now moving to Santa Catarina. So the capital of the state of Santa Catarina is actually an island, which is Florianopolis, which is right here. Florianopolis is quite, it's a city, so it's got bars, restaurants and everything, but it's quite famous with Australians actually. Australians that tend to travel a little bit further really like that destination. It's very popular for super beaches, beautiful scenery. You can do all different activities such as paragliding, scuba diving, surfing, windsurfing, sandboarding around there. Very stunning beaches, and you can also enjoy their hotel. So basically you can have some beautiful properties in front of the beach for you to relax for a few days. It's quite popular destination as well. So you have there the Sitio Tucanos, which is going to be your hotel with like 10 rooms, very small and boutique. Here you have the Sofitel, which is a bit bigger, about 115 rooms. So you have quite a few beaches to choose from. A great place to go to. So an hour from Florianopolis, you have the Rosa Beach. So basically, Florianopolis is very popular. So during the summer, it does get it can get a little bit crowded. So many people are choosing now to go to a place a little bit more remote. So Rosa Beach, as I said, it's about an hour by car. It's got 40 beaches around there, very beautiful and quite untouched. Excellent for honeymooners. From July through to November, you actually can do some whale watching around there too. And it's very famous at the moment for a place that is still very, very beautiful and but still close, just an hour away from Florianopolis, which you can fly into. In terms of hotels, they have some beautiful boutique hotels around there, which are with your 12, 8, 19 rooms, quite exclusive, great service, so great destination, as I said, for couples, honeymooners, to just wind down and relax for a little bit. So moving forward, we're going to talk about Rio Grande do Sul, which is the bottom south of the country. And we're talking about two regions around there. The capital is Porto Alegre. So about 3 hours from both Porto Alegre or Florianopolis, you can choose where you're going to fly clients to. You have the Refugio Ecologico Pedra Afiada. So it's a beautiful lodge, and it's at the bottom of a gigantic canyon. And basically you get to go there and it's beautiful scenery. Great for people who like to do hikes, waterfalls and things like that. And you get to go quite a few different activities as well. So you can, it's great for people who want to do something a bit close to nature, quite a beautiful scenery and they can enjoy. Also in that state, we have this quite of an interesting region because you may not have heard about, but there's a small part of Brazil, which is that region called Serra Verde, which it feels like a small piece of Europe in a way, and in Brazil it's actually known as Little Europe, because you're going to find lots of so very broad valleys and lots of vineyards around there. So in that area you have a few cities which are come from Italian descendants or German descendants, and you can actually go there and try different types of wine and stay in their wineries as well, and do some winery tours basically. So some of the hotels that we have there, we're talking about, like, let's say Pousada Borghetto, which is only 7 rooms. in a winery region. The hotel and spa of Vinho, it's a 4.5-star property which about 128 rooms. Posada Contelli, for example, is just 3 rooms, and we have the Dal on the which is 252. So you have quite a few different cities and area in that area that you can go to for you to try and experience the wine of that region. So in fact, Brazil is getting quite famous for its wine at the moment. So it's got about 800 commercial grapes in that area, which are exported to the US, UK, and rest of Europe and things like that. All right, so that covered the south region of Brazil and some areas in that part that maybe you haven't heard of and you could recommend to your clients, especially maybe on the way in between the Rio Iguazu Falls trip or something like that. And as you know, we've been doing quite a few webinars. Even if you attend 5 of them and send us an email with the response to the final question, you may get a chance to go to our Ecuador Famille in 2017. So the question today is, what's the name of Morretes' traditional dish? So I spoke about this dish before. If you can send us that via email on contours@contourstravel.com.au, you get a chance to go on our Ecuador Famille next year. All right, so if you have any questions, please just ask me or send us an email later on. Does anyone have any questions right now they'd like to ask me? All right, so thank you very much for participating on this last Brazil webinar and our last webinar of the year. Thank you for your time and for your attention. Have a nice day.